This is the Samsung Galaxy S21 FE 5G. Alright, this is the Samsung Galaxy S21 FE 5G edition. I don't think there's a 4G edition. I think it's just 5G and that's your lot. So FE stands for Fan Edition, because the S21 is so popular. But this is this is essentially the last big phone to carry the S21 branding before the S22 arrives in a couple of weeks. And I'm going to have a quick look at it. This appears to have a sort of a purpley thing. I've broken the seals already because I was a bit curious to see exactly what colour it was. And it's this colour. It's like a lilac kind of colour. It's good looking. It's different. It's not quite purple. It's not quite pink. It's sort of in the middle there. As a masculine man, I don't think I wouldn't sniff at that. It's actually kind of nice. It's pretty. It's very, very pretty. As a masculine man, it looks all right. So it'll do. Okay, we'll take that out. This appears to be a black thing that goes across the screen, just to ensure that it's kept black. And then we have, what is the device? It feels very nice. It's not kind of plastic on the back. It is plastic, but it's got a nice sort of grippy texture. It's not as slippery or slidey as the Pixels, for example, but and it's not a glass back, but it's quite a nice back. It feels not, it's like a premium plastic, if anything. We have 3 cameras on the back there and a little flash you can see just there as well, which is that wee LED. It feels like it was thrown in at the last minute to appease because they'd forgotten to put it on there. But where other ones have sensors and all kinds of things below it, this just has that, and that's your lot. That's what you're going to have here. So in the 3 cameras, in no particular order, we've got a 12 megapixel camera, which is your wide angle f-stop 1.8 26mm camera. Then there is the 8 megapixel telephoto lens. I'm just guessing it's the middle one. It might not be, which has a 3 times optical zoom, and that's a really nice option to have there. 3 times optical zoom in a camera is, well, in a phone camera is a nice feature to have. And then there's the 12 megapixel ultra wide, which is an f2.2. It's worth pointing out that's an f2.4 for that 8 megapixel. The ultra wide is a 2.2, 13mm, and it does auto HDR, panorama, videos in 4K of up to 60 frames per second. So it's really got that video down, which is a nice thing to see. HDR10, 1080p. Videos can go up to 240 frames per second, so you can get some really nice action that way too. And then 720p goes up to 960 frames per second, which is kind of incredible. On the side here we have an antenna band plus a volume rocker, which isn't terribly large given the size of the device. It seems quite small. And then the power button looks quite small as well. Maybe it's just because of my unkept nails. It just looks quite small, but for the dainty finger it might work quite well. On the bottom here we have a USB Type-C plus an external speaker. That's where the SIM card goes in, and crucially on this one there is no SD card slot, so that'll be for SIM card and only SIM card, which is a bit of a shame. It looks a bit oh, I suppose there's plasticky stuff around there. I won't peel that off just yet. I'll save that for later. There's nothing along here, which is nice. A bland, boring side is still a nice sight to behold. Up at the top, we have a microphone hole and an antenna band. Oh yeah, there's an antenna band there as well, so there's 3 on it. The more astute of you will notice that this device does not have a 3.5mm headphone jack, so bummer. Move to Bluetooth. That's what you're going to have to do. We have a front-facing camera, and it's a 32 megapixel f2.2 wide angle HDR selfie camera that can do video of up to 4K at 60 frames per second. 1080p of 60 frames per second, and it's quite small and not sort of not in your face. It's a nice little sort of punch hole camera. All right, so let's turn her on and see what happens. We might have some juice in here. We do. So elsewhere, inside, it should be running Android 12 out of the box with One UI 4. There is a Qualcomm Snapdragon version, which has the 888, and that's the 5G. Then there is the Exynos 2100 version, which I don't know if it's 5G. It doesn't appear to be showing us English straight off the bat. There is the octa-core CPU inside of it. Has one 2.8 gigahertz processor and three 2.42 gigahertz, alongside four 1.8 gigahertz processors to keep me ticking over. So it should hopefully get through battery and processing quite nicely and be able to hit the faster chips whenever it needs them. Yeah, okay, whatever, fire it all through. And it doesn't have sloping sides, which is really, really nice. I do like it. We have a proper bezel to the phone, which I'm so glad they're coming back. I've missed them. So we're going to connect to our Wi-Fi 6 network, and it needs to restart for service provider setup. Oh, how annoying. I haven't had that before. I haven't put my SIM card in this just yet because it's still in my old phone, and I'll swap over to it later on. What else do we have in the box while that's happening? We have a SIM card ejector tool. Obviously there's no charger, or there is a cable, thankfully. It's these cheaper Samsung ones. I'm not a big fan of them. It's USB to USB-C, so there's no USB-A there at all. So that actually limits the amount of chargers you can get. It's going to be harder for you to be able to find one that you might already have that has USB Type-C in it. Ah, that's a pain in the bum. Right, copy apps and data. We're not going to do that now. We just want to get into it and have a quick flick around with the camera and see what the speaker sounds like. I'll skip that too. Skip that too. Choose your search engine, which is a nice option at the very start. I actually don't recognize too many of them. We'll go with DuckDuckGo just for the sake of it. We'll skip setting up the protection thing. So there's an under display fingerprint sensor. I'm wondering if I can get the light just right. Could I deduce exactly where it is? But they're usually about here, I suppose. It's an optical one. And it's the Gorilla Glass Victus with an aluminium frame. And crucially, one of the big things about this is it's IP68, which is water and dust resistance at quite a high scale. So I'm going to go into water up to 1.5 meters for around about 30 minutes, which is kind of nice. The battery is a lithium-ion 4500 milliamp hour. There should be a fast charging coil or reverse wireless charging coil somewhere here as well. It fast charges up to 15 watts, which isn't particularly fast. I guess that's through the fast charging is 25 watts, sorry, yes. The wireless charging is 15 watts, but the fast charging through the USB Type-C is 25 watts. That's actually quite slow compared to some of the others on the market. But if you're that kind of person who, and I'd say that this phone would be that person who is just happy to set this on charge overnight and have it charge up and ready to go the next morning and doesn't require rapid charging on the go, then I think this is a good option. All right, that took quite a bit of time to get to that stage with all that circling going on there. So get recommended apps. Samsung Boost. I don't know what that is, but if it installs it, then all the better. We've got Samsung Pay on here. There's Samsung Account as well, which I'll set up another day. I'm not going to bore you with that. And we're all set and ready to go. So yeah, it's a good looking screen. Certainly is, and obviously Samsung know how to make their screen look better with their wonderful variety of backgrounds. So having a look to see what bloat we have installed, there's all of the Samsung stuff. The Galaxy Shop, Smart Things voice recorder, Samsung Health, Galaxy Wear. Samsung TV Plus is installed by default. We've got all the Google stuff as well that you would expect. Then we have some Microsoft bits and pieces too. Play Store, Spotify's on there, Facebook's on there, Netflix is on there. YouTube Music is on there. Tips, Samsung Notes, Samsung Global Goals, Game Launcher, Samsung Free. And we'll jump into the camera because that's what I want to see. Right, so we have a very standard camera app. We have single take way over on the left, which I believe is one of those ones where you can move it around a lot and it'll take a bunch of different pictures. And it'll invite you to be a bit creative with it. Okay, so we should, once we go into the gallery, we have a video. And then it's picked out some highlights, made a black and white shot of an Aston Martin there. Bit of a stylized one that looks a wee bit HDR-ized. Sped up. So it monkeys around and does a lot of artistic things that you might find beneficial. Then we have Portrait, which will take a picture of Mr. Connery there. I'm taking a picture of Mr. Campbell instead because Mr. Connery wasn't working for us. It is taking a picture of him. And it looks great, wonderful. We have the photo, which is just your basic one, that has the 3x zoom, which is really quite nice. So we could take a picture there. And we can go even further in. There's number points that you can actually hit rather than scrolling in and out like that. So that's where you go into your digital zoom. And it doesn't look too bad actually. There's quite a bit of detail being picked up there on the 30x digital zoom, which ain't bad. And we got over to video. We'll have a look in the settings of the camera as well and see what there is. Scene optimizer, QR code, picture formats. We can do RAW. Video stabilization, that's getting into that. Save selfies as previews. Auto HDR. Then in the video settings, video stabilization, auto HDR, tracking autofocus, grid lines, location tags, shooting methods, advanced recording options, HDR10 video, which is still in labs. Fair enough. And then we'll go to more, and we've got AR Doodle Pro, panoramic, food, night, blah, 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 pro video, super slow-mo, dual recording. That's front and back. Hello there. Yeah, so you can record yourself whilst you are recording Mr. Connery here. Grand. That's kind of a nice idea. That means you could fake a few Skype calls or Zoom calls or whatever. Bixby Vision. I don't know why I touched that. I'm sorry. Bixby, yeah. Google Play, we can't really do too much of that because I didn't bother signing in. And we wanted to have a quick check of the speakers to see how they sound. Okay, so having a quick look at, let's go for this Samsung Galaxy Tab versus...
This is the Galaxy Tab S4 versus the Galaxy Tab S6. Okay, so over the years, I have been using Samsung tablets since the word go, with the first Samsung tablet sitting over there, the Galaxy Tab. We've had a myriad of tablets over the years. However, the Tab S has been...
The speaker isn't all that bad, actually. There was quite a good amount of volume coming off there. I turned it up, but I can't help but notice that this phone is getting hot. Round up here and here, it is really warm. And I'm not taxing it particularly. That is very hot. It is possibly because I haven't removed this plastic. It's unlikely, but I could maybe put it down to that. And maybe the original setup has taken quite a bit out of it. I did notice that the battery had dropped down a couple of percentage while I got it ready. But yeah, it is quite warm up here. Not to worry. Anyway, I'm going to go away and play with this for a while, and I'll try and do a follow-up video to let you know what I think. It's a good looking phone. It's not the most expensive phone in the world. You can pick it up for around about, well, it's sitting at about £700 at the moment, but you can get some pretty cracker deals on contracts if contracts are your bag. Yeah, I do actually quite like it. It feels like a good old-fashioned phone. It doesn't have any gimmicks like the sloping sides, the curved sides that I've had to put up with my S10 for quite some time. It does have a bit of a funky color. The camera module on the back is not in your face. Obviously, it's not Pixel 6. It's not big style and design. It is quite subtle and small, and for that, it's actually quite fashionable and funky, I'd say. The edging of it does look very nice, this sort of metallic silver aluminium frame that it has is quite nice. But I do think it's the screen, and the 90 Hertz really benefits it there. Obviously, people are going to say, well, why is it not 120 Hertz? It's 90 Hertz, that's fine for most. I think it's quite an attractive phone so far, and I look forward to using it all the more. Notice there we're down to 35%. Some folks have said that the battery doesn't last as well as a lot of the other batteries that you get on the market at the moment, but what can you do? Oh, right, we've got Google News over there, I see, right. Okay, well, if you have any questions or anything you want me to check out in particular, drop them into the comments box down below. Hit that subscribe button and turn on their notifications, and give us a wee thumbs up if you fancy, and other than that, take care.